This is the real estate marketing blueprint for getting new consistent listings for realtors. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire model. So let's dive right in. And the first thing I want to address is where you are probably right now if you're like most real estate agents. So you can see really where you're wasting either time or financial resources. And then from there, we're going to dive into what works right now to generate listings and listing appointments. Now, I work with real estate agents all across the board, from brand new agents all the way back to medium range realtors making, let's say, $200,000, $300,000 per year. And we've also worked some large teams, also some of the top 50 teams in the whole United States as far as production. So I'll be able to address all of these different stages where you are right now. And then if you are at one of these stages, you kind of see here based on this video, how do you get to that next one? So probably right now, if you're like most real estate agents, most of your business comes from your sphere of influence. So this would be your repeat business, referrals, word of mouth, any of these sources. And these are obviously great. The biggest issue with these sources is that they're not necessarily super scalable, or they're not necessarily super predictable. So if you have growing your business to, let's say, $200,000 per year or $100,000 per year, let's say for some of you, maybe you make only $50,000 per year, which is the average GCI in US for real estate agents. This is how most of the typical real estate businesses have been grown, right? So to repeat, referral, word of mouth. Again, it's definitely great sources, but the issue is definitely the scalability and the predictability. So if you've been stuck kind of like at the same level of GCI for many, many years, this is probably the reason why. You don't really have an external way of generating new clients outside of that sphere of influence. So after this stage where people are typically relying on their sphere of influence, referrals, word of mouth, people typically go into buying leads phase. So where they're purchasing leads, let's say from services like Zillow, Realtor.com, any of these lead generation services out there. Now, at this point, people typically do generate leads. They're actually getting people outside of their sphere, but the problem usually is that the type of leads that they're getting is not ideal. So for a lot of people, they tend to be buyer leads. Probably I would say like 80 to 90% of the lead generation services are typically for buyers because they are easier to generate. There's a lot more of them, right? And so when you generate buyers, you can either build your business based on buyers, but if you do that, as you know, if you have ever done that before, it's not going to be, again, a very scalable way to do that because buyers take around 3 times more time compared to a listing. And when you do work with a buyer, you kind of end up spinning your wheels again at the same GCI because you just can't take on more buyers in a profitable way. Now, the second way to do it is that, or obviously the second problem with this is that, okay, now that you are getting these buyers, you still obviously have to pay for these leads. And let's say you're purchasing semi high quality leads. Let's say that would be, let's say, Zillow live transfers or something like that. You're going to face into what's called a profitability issue, where about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, back then the Zillow leads are great, right? You could get a great ROI, you would be profitable, you spend a little amount of money, you would make a lot more back. But nowadays, since that has kind of saturated, people face into an issue. Well, okay, they're getting clients, but they're actually spending almost the same amount of money, or they just get like a little bit of profit after the expenses. So because that's so saturated way to get clients, then that ultimately leads into a result where, okay, you're spending this money on these leads, you are getting clients, but maybe your ROI is, let's say, only 2x, right? And you still have to work with that buyer, you still have to drive them around, like you have all these expenses as far as your time and then also your finances that go into actually servicing or getting these leads. Now, another way that I've seen also people generating leads or buying leads has been through, let's say, low quality lead services where you're spending very small amount of money. Let's say that would be, let's say, $300 a month. And now you're getting all of these leads, but then the same issue as far as the beginning phase as far as time happens. Okay, you're getting 100, you're getting 200 leads a month, you're getting 300 leads a month, right? But when you actually call those leads, they're like dead end leads. They just are not qualified or not from your area or not even looking to purchase or sell a house, right? And you just kind of have to filter to all of these different leads. And then all of your days are basically just spent, just chasing these leads around, trying to follow up with them. But then ultimately, as you know, they're not qualified or not interested. So it's going to be a very difficult game to play. So ultimately, even though that model, again, can get you 1 or 2 clients here and there, it's not going to be necessarily the most sort of like sustainable or predictable way you actually want to build your business upon. Now, this is sort of like the purchasing leads phase. Now, if you have talked about social media or if you have heard about people using social media, right, the next stage from here is that people typically attempt to use social media. So when they attempt to use social media, there's all these tools out there as far as like, okay, what can you do as an example to run your Facebook account, or what can you do to run your Instagram account, right? So people are facing this issue, okay, well, I'm spending all this money on these Zillow leads and I want to get new clients, but I don't want to spend as much. So they're like, okay, well, this tool is like $50 a month. So it's not that bad compared to like these leads, right? It's just like one lead. So they end up purchasing a tool. There's a lot of these out there, like Keeping Current Matters or any of these tools out there that are doing automated content, whether that be, let's say, through their company tool that people have, let's say KV Core, any of these tools, they all have like kind of like automated content that you can post. And they're like, okay, well, I can use this tool, right, to post for free on my social media. So at least this gets me a listing or two, right? It's still going to be profitable. So what people end up doing is that they get these tools, and now these tools are posting on their Facebook, posting on their Instagram, or these various channels. Now, if you have ever done that before, you have probably noticed that those automated posts, they get basically very little to no reaction. Now, at the beginning, if you may use that tool, right, and you posted your first post, you may have actually gotten some reactions. But then as you posted your fifth post, and the 10th post, and 20 posts, and 50 posts, right, you kind of started to notice, oh, well, these posts are not getting any views or not getting any likes, not getting any comments. And the reason why that happened is because those automated tools, the type of content that they post is going to be very impersonal, it's going to be very generic, and it's always going to be almost always like articles or links to different things. And so on the back end of these social media platforms, there's this kind of like health ranking, meaning that, okay, the less people engage with your post, the less likely it is going to show that post to that person again. And so what kind of ends up happening is if you have posted, let's say, personal content, or a content has been like regular, right, it's got any views, got any likes, there's all these people kind of consuming your content from sort of like database, but then as you use this tool, it sort of like destroys your profile algorithm, and then now you would have to rebuild that again if you wanted to use your profile again successfully. So obviously that's just only one downside of these tools. You do come off as a spammy, as somebody who's just, being very, very businessy or kind of like salesy on these platforms. So there's a lot of other downsides to these tools as well. But having said that, if you have ever used automated content, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's not necessarily going to be the way forward. So at this point, a lot of people are feeling very confused because they're like, okay, well, I'm making $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 per year in my real estate business from these sources like repeat business, referrals, word of mouth. I've tried to grow the business. I want to grow the business, right? But none of these things have worked. Like this tool that I got is not working. The leads that I'm buying, like they're barely profitable. They're not working, right? Like what can I do to grow my business? And so at this stage, a lot of people, they end up purchasing some sort of tool to run their paid advertising. Now, there's a lot of companies, a lot of tools out there that you can use for paid ads, right? But typically these tools may be slightly more expensive, sometimes even bigger packages that sort of like promise done for you paid advertising. So they kind of say, well, okay, buy this tool or, buy this program and we're going to just do everything for you. You don't need to worry about it. Like just buy this tool and, you can just run the ads from this. It's going to be, we'll give you the ads, we'll give you that funnel, we'll give you everything. Don't worry about it. Like just pay the money and you're going to get it. It's going to solve this problem of getting these low quality leads, right? Or it's going to solve this problem of profitability. And it's kind of halfway there. So ultimately you are on the right track, right? You are using social media. You're building sort of your own systems, right? But what you notice is that if you have ever done that before, where you have run ads through, let's say, a tool that gives you the ads right away, is that you'll lead into the same exact problem you had with these lead generation services where, again, you're spending this money and now when you're getting these leads, to call these leads, they just have no idea who you are or they're not qualified or, again, it just doesn't lead into anything. So a lot of people tend to, okay, buy these tools, buy these programs for essentially running paid ads, but what they'll notice is that, okay, well, they're just getting the same thing as they got previously with these lead generation services. And the reason why that happens a lot of the time is because people don't understand really the sales cycle as far as these online leads go, right? It's because like when you run an ad online, it's not the case that somebody clicks on an ad, let's say it's about home valuation or a list of homes, and you can just call them and expect them to react in the same way as people are reacting right here with repeat business, referrals, word of mouth, right? It's just not gonna happen. So the issue is in the fact that when people are running these ads through these different tools is, number one, when they run the ads, they're the same exact ads as everybody else is running in their market, right? Because that's the definition of done for you tools, is that you can just copy paste those tools and they're just gonna run the ads for you, right? So ultimately people run the same ads, so obviously you can't expect to get like really a different outcome, but then also on the back end, when they do get these leads are ultimately not in any sort of way interested in working with them specifically, because again, by definition, they've gotten themselves sort of like a done for you tool, or they've gotten something that was already pre-made. So there's nothing that's unique about the realtor or about the person the lead is like trying to contact, right? There's nothing unique about that person versus anybody else out there in the marketplace. And in fact, in many cases, these leads don't even know who the real estate agent is. Maybe there's like a small image of the realtor and the phone number, but that's all there is to the actual nurturing process. So this process is kind of like halfway there. Essentially, people are kind of like doing the right thing, but they're still missing a key element in the actual process that makes the whole machine work, that actually makes even these repeat business, these referrals, these word of mouth things actually work. And I'm going to talk about the next thing that you actually need to make this whole process work. I'm going to talk about organic content. I'm also going to talk about the paid ads. So the biggest challenge people typically face is that a lot of real estate agents think what the homeowner wants is things like articles or things like different templates or different automated things, right? Or they may think that they want to see different tools, that they look very professional, or they want to see different slogans or things along those lines. But when people actually look at what the homeowners actually want, what the homeowners actually respond to, it's actually pretty evident. So when you look into where most real estate agents get their business from, it's through referrals. 33% of listings go based off referrals, according to National Association of Realtors. So what that ultimately tells you is that the homeowners, they don't want to see automated content. They don't want to see random ad that they've seen like 1,000 times from other realtors, right? They don't want to see complicated tech. They don't want any of that stuff, even though a lot of realtors think that's what they want. What the homeowners want is to work with real estate agents that they know. They want to work with real estate agents that they trust, and they want to work with real estate agent that they see as the expert authority realtor they want to work with, right? And that's what's evident about the data when you look into, okay, where are most listings are coming from, right? Where most real estate agents are getting their business from, it's to repeat business, referrals, word of mouth, right? And I've talked to thousands and thousands of real estate agents. This is how most real estate agents get their business from. You go out there, you ask real estate agents, where do you get your most listings? That's what they're going to tell you. And so what results into these repeat business, what results into these referrals, right, is ultimately relationship. It's ultimately the fact that there is somebody, there's a trust bridge that gets transferred across people. And the trust bridge, you can actually create yourself. You can create that online. You don't need to rely on some external force to create that for you. You can create that online, and it's really called strategic personal branding. So it's called personal branding because personal branding is ultimately the same exact thing that's already working in your business right now. It's building relationships. But the difference is that when I say strategic personal branding, it means also that you are doing in a proactive, strategic way. So you actually have a plan. It's not just based on something that you can't control yourself. So let's talk about the first way that you can generate listing clients from your organic social media. And organic social media stands for free social media, right? This is something that every real estate agent has access to. You probably have right now access to your Facebook account, your YouTube account, your Instagram account. You probably have a list of contacts that you have. And these are all organic assets that you already actually have for if you're like most real estate agents. Now, what I see is that when real estate agents get listings from organic social media marketing, 99.999% of them usually create the content themselves. So when people are successful, they always create the content themselves. There's very few, if none, instances. I've talked to thousands and thousands of real estate agents. I've asked them, okay, where do you get your listings from? Like, how does it work, right? I've never heard a single person say that they're getting consistent listings using automated social media. So if you're using automated social media right now, just cancel that, throw it out of the window. You don't need that. That's totally purposeless. It does not serve any sort of purpose. So when you create your content yourself on these social media platforms, right, you need to have a content strategy. So, okay, what do you actually post? When do you post it? Where do you post it? And the biggest mistake I see people make when they create the content themselves, when they actually put in the effort and they try to create the content themselves and actually, create content that is valuable to the homeowners, is that they try to do all of these platforms at the same time. So people are trying to do Instagram, they're trying to do TikTok shorts, they're trying to do YouTube videos, they're trying to do Facebook content, they're trying to do this and that, and trying all these different tools. Twitter, they're trying to do threads, trying to do all these different platforms, right? And what ultimately that leads into is that you're kind of like on the right track. You're doing the right things. You're doing the right sort of a thing, but you're ultimately splitting yourself too thin. And the reason why is because if you have 5 platforms you're trying to manage, right? Even if you do that properly, you are gonna create content that's average at best. You're not gonna create the best, high quality content that the homeowners are gonna see and are gonna be like, wow, this is information that I would be willing to pay for, right? And so if that's not your content right now, or if you are in that situation where, you're trying to do all of these things at the same time, look at your strengths. So are you the type of person that's more, able to create content that's in a written format, right? You're writing text and then you have a picture, or are you a person that's more comfortable on video? And if you are comfortable on video, make the separation. Are you more comfortable on short videos? Are you somebody that's maybe more entertaining? Are you somebody that's maybe able to succinct things in a very, very short format, right? Or are you somebody that's more comfortable creating, let's say, a 10-minute video about a house tour or about the local area, the best restaurants, etc. on YouTube, right? If you are the type of person that's more like entertainer, if you're the type of person that's more comfortable on the short format, then just double down on that. Don't worry about YouTube in that case. If you are a person that's more comfortable on long-form video, just create the best long-form videos in your market. Because what I've seen personally is that you don't need to have all these platforms going for you. You can still post something to each of these platforms, but as far as a main client attraction source, you only need one platform to work with you. And if you look at any best successful real estate agent in any of markets, let's say you look at Austin, you look at different markets like San Diego, you look at any of these markets, you look at the best realtor on these platforms, right? Or the most highest producing realtors on these platforms, and you search them up that do social media specifically, right? They're almost always going to be from like one platform. There's realtors that do 50 deals a year from YouTube. There's realtors that actually do even 100 deals a year just from using YouTube. Now, they may still have some presence. Let's say they have a post on Instagram or they have a post on like Facebook, but for the most part, that's how it works. They just use one channel and they're really, really good at it. So when you do organic marketing, that's the main thing you want to look at. Okay, using one platform, getting really, really good at that one platform, and when you create your content, making that content native to that platform. And that's one of the reasons why those automated tools don't work, is because you're using usually the same type of content, using that on Facebook, you're using that on LinkedIn, using that on Instagram, right? You're posting the same things that are not even native to the platform. They're like articles, so ultimately you're posting non-native content to all of these platforms at the same time. So when you create your content, make it native to the platform, right? If you are on Facebook, it's usually going to be text and picture-based content. It's usually going to be slightly longer posts. If you're using YouTube, long-form videos, obviously, and then if you're using short-form content, that's going to be usually on Instagram, usually on TikTok, and then also obviously nowadays you can use YouTube Shorts as well, and also Facebook Reels. But that's all of these different tools, all these different platforms, they are unique. They need to have a specific type of content going for them. Short-form content is maybe the only exception where usually the short-form content you can kind of use on all of these platforms at the same time, with few exceptions. Now, when you create your organic content, from here, what I see a lot of people missing is that they're not actively able to convert this audience into actual listings, into actual clients. And this is where your social selling piece has to come in, where you're getting these engagements, right? You're getting these comments, you're getting these people watching your videos. You also need to be able to proactively and strategically start and engage people into conversations about selling or purchasing property, or giving you, let's say, a referral about somebody that they know that would be doing so. So you also need to have that proactive element. You need to know how to social sell people in to having a conversation on the phone, or having a listing appointment, or having, let's say, a buyer appointment, let's say over on Zoom. But you need to be able to have strategies that are also able to then convert these people into actual conversations. And this is where your call to actions, this is where your social selling comes in. So after you have dialed in this piece with the organic content, you have focused on one platform, right? You're getting these views, you're getting this audience growth. From this audience growth, you want to be able to start and engage conversations from which you'll be able to generate yourself listing appointments. So from here, when you're doing organic marketing, this is ultimately very similar to growing your sphere influence. This is ultimately almost the same exact thing. When you grow your Instagram followers, when you grow your YouTube channel, when you grow your Facebook friend list, right? All these things are kind of like building a virtual sphere of influence that you have online. And from this, obviously you can get repeat clients, obviously you can get referrals. That's a big one, organic social media part. And obviously there's tons of word of mouth. So if you have a great post, right, that's going to spike up conversations. That's going to get new people to see your posts. But also one of the strategies you can leverage is to leverage the relationships you create organically, and when you actually serve that client, you can create word of mouth through leveraging their social media and then getting them to post you on their social media as well. So there's just tons of opportunities as far as organic social media marketing goes. Now, once you dial this part in, now, if you do this really well, right, you can actually generate already 50, 100 transactions a year just by doing this one strategy. If you're like most people, right, organic social media usually gets you around 1 to 2 listings per month organically, and that's very good. That's about 12 listings a year, 24 listings a year. For most people, it actually doubles their business already. So just by doing this one part correctly, you can also already incredibly increase your GCI. For most people, if you are like average realtor, it can double your business or even more than that in less than a year. Now, having said that, if you're like most agents and you really want to scale your growth quickly, well, in that case, once you're doing this part correctly, let's say you're doing 1 listing a month from organic social media, or you're doing 2 listings a month from organic social media, right? And you really want to make things happen quicker. You want to scale quickly. Or as an example, let's say you are a broker owner and you have 10 real estate agents, or you have 20 real estate agents working under you, and you really want to get leads for them. You really want to spike up the process, make it happen quicker. Well, then your way is going to be to add in a paid advertising element to your strategic personal branding strategy. Now, if you are at that stage where you're ready to scale, you're ready to really spike things up, now we're going to talk about paid advertising. So, but when I talk about paid advertising, I'm talking about running advertisements on social media platforms in a profitable way, where let's say you're able to spend $1,000 on your paid ads. On the other end, you're able to consistently get yourself a listing. And let's say that listing makes you, let's say, $10,000 back. Well, now you have a listing printing machine that you can run on the paid ads side. Now, when you run paid advertising on social media, you're ultimately paying money to get attention. And when you're paying money to get attention, it doesn't change the actual platform. So meaning, if you are running something on organic social media, you're running a content piece, and that's working really well, right? You're getting clients coming in, you're getting people to reach out, you're getting people to see your posts. The same exact thing will happen on the paid side. And that's why a lot of times when people are trying to do automated content, right, it's not working on organic social media, and then they try to put the similar content on the paid ads, it's not working. But the opposite is true when you have content that's actually is working. So if you have something that's working really well organically, when you put in paid ads to that content, now you're really putting that thing on steroids. You're really putting in a big massive audience to that content because you're also paying for that content to be seen. So let's talk about paid ads and what kind of strategy you should be running on as far as the paid advertising goes. So the biggest thing I see about paid ads is kind of what we addressed earlier. People are just not posting content on the paid ads. It's actually wanted by the homeowners. Again, if the homeowner would not be ready to pay for your ad, as funny as that sounds, really, there's no point in running that ad. The ad should be so good that the homeowner is like, oh my God, like this information is so valuable, it's so good, that actually would pay for this content, right? So when we talk about running paid ads, first thing that matters the most is your creative. So what is the actual ad that you're running? And that's why organic social media, the people that do that really well, usually the paid ad transition is very easy because the content is already working. We just take that and just plug it into paid ads. Now, when you run paid ads, one of the mistakes I see also with the paid ads is that people are trying to do too many things at the same time. So they run the ad and they have like 3 or 4 different strategies that they're running, or they're changing their strategy every 2 weeks, or doing a new lead magnet, or they're trying to do the book, they try to do home valuation, they try to do this thing, and they're also trying to do YouTube ads or Google ads, or they think about all of these technical things like what's my CRM or what's this automation here, and they have all these different crazy tools that are just like too complicated, and their ad budget is like $1,000 a month. So it's very crazy as far as what people do on the paid ads, but what you actually need is something very simple, and you actually need only one paid advertising funnel. Now, this is the same as organic social media, meaning if you are somebody that's more natural to write things, if you are somebody that's natural, let's say, to take a picture compared to a video, right, then obviously you want to do that. Then use a platform like Facebook where that's going to be native content. If you are somebody that's really good on short form content, you like to do reels, you like to do this short form type of ad, then leverage short form platforms. Usually Instagram is good as well for those types of lead generation activities. Now, if you're better at long form content, right? You like to create longer form videos. When you run an ad, let's say that will be a 2-minute video or 3-minute video, 5-minute video, then YouTube is going to be the way to go. Now, this also depends on the market that you're in, because each of these platforms have different demographics in different market areas. So sometimes you do need to adjust that a little bit and then be able to adjust to that as well. If you have a perfect client on one specific platform, then sometimes you do need to adjust to that as well. Now, having said this, when you run these ads, the biggest difference you want to have and the biggest competitive advantage you want to have compared to everybody else is that your ad itself is really, really good. Because the thing is, most people, when they're running ads, they're using templated, they're using generic ads, and they're usually like a couple of them. They're running like templated ads to a templated funnel. So when you're on your own paid advertising, make sure that your creative, the advertising itself, is really, really good. Because when it's actually really, really good, it's going to lower your cost to run these advertisements. So it's going to be more profitable to run. You're going to get more views for less amount of money. And the second part is that when you take people through that ad and you get them to click on something, make sure that's as valuable as possible. So when people go through that experience, okay, they click on the ad, they go to your funnel, the value piece that you provide in that funnel should be as great as possible. The better it is, the better it's going to be. Now, when you're on these ads as well, make sure that you're focusing on listings as opposed to buyers. So because when you run leads ads for buyers, yes, it's typically more, you're gonna get more buyer leads when you run ads like that for a cheaper price. Buyer leads are essentially very easy to get compared to listing leads. But the downside is in that the leads themselves are gonna have a very long sales cycle. So a lot of times when you run a buyer lead generation ad, let's say you're doing that for first-time homeowners, they may be 6 months away, they may be 12 months away, they may be a couple years away, and it's a very uncertain process if they're gonna be buying a house in the first place. But when you're able to run this for listings, sure, not everybody is going to be ready to sell a house right away. That's expected. But you're going to still have about 5 to 10% of people, when you qualify these people, that are going to be selling their houses in the near short-term future. We're talking about either doing it immediately, or we're talking about doing it, let's say, in 1 month, 2 month, 3 month. And what that allows you to do is that when you are spending this money on these advertisements, let's say you're spending $1,000 a month on your ads, when you get that listing coming in, usually as you're getting these leads coming in, there's going to be people every month that are going to be like that. They want to sell it immediately or 1 to 3 months. And when you get that listing and you sell that listing, usually a listing takes around 30 to 60 days to sell, depending on the market that you're in. Well, now you're able to take that profit and funnel it back to the ads that you're running. So you're able to run it in a very consistent and scalable way, and then scale that forward because you're getting the cash back from the ads that you're running. Now, having said this, when you are running these ads, you want to be aware, obviously, of the time frames. You want to be aware of the conversion rates, your sales process. When you do get these listing leads, it needs to be dialed in. So you need to have the scripts, what to say, when to say, where to say it, how to follow up with these people, etc. And as you're running this strategy, what you essentially want to do is that, okay, people are going to this funnel and you want to pay attention to, okay, what happens after they become your lead? Because what we've typically seen is that the biggest weakness most real estate agents have when they run paid ads is that, again, leads just have no idea what is going on, like who this realtor is, why there's this thing, like just no idea about that. So when you're getting these listing leads, you want to set them up into this Omnipresence social ad campaign. So from their perspective, now they're becoming your lead, they start to see you automatically over on these social media platforms. So they see you on Facebook, they see you on Instagram, they start to see you on YouTube, all of these different platforms. And what that's going to be doing is that it's going to be doing the same exact thing we talked about earlier. It's going to be building a relationship with them. They get to know a little bit more about you, your story, what your values are, the types of clients you have worked with. And even when people go through this funnel, they should see a video from you, like explaining the process, walking through different things, introducing yourself, etc. So all these things are doing is that they're ultimately nurturing these people into becoming your client, into getting to know you, and into having that relationship with you. And as you're doing this, let's say they're even not selling a house with you, they're still going to be going kind of like to your sphere of influence. They have to be familiar with you. And that's the main goal of these ads that most people actually don't even realize. It's not even to get a listing. Like ultimately, sure, we want to run these ads in a profitable way, right? You want to spend $1,000, get $10,000 back. But if you think about a year forward, 2 years forward, 3 years forward, right? People, you want to look at the person that's buying leads from Zillow, right? And let's say you do that in a profitable way. They're getting a 2x ROI or a 3x ROI, right? That's very nice, but it's not building their brand. It's not building new relationships in a scalable way, right? There's not a mass of people that gets to know these realtors based off this activity. But when you run your own ads, especially when you have like a campaign like this, that's ultimately putting out creatives, content pieces that these homeowners are seeing on a daily basis, and they actually get to know you, they actually get to build a relationship. Imagine there's an audience there of 10,000 people or an audience there of 50,000 people. They're just seeing you over and over and over again for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. If you live in a smaller city, let's say we have one client from Harrisonburg, what happened to him is that a year after running these ads, he went to a store and the cashier was like, hey, you're the Zach Coops, you're that guy that I've seen on social media, right? And that's what ends up happening is that you build a massive sphere of influence as a result of running these ads, and you're even getting paid for running these ads. You're getting literally paid to build your own brand. Now, as you're getting these listing leads, we just covered the organic social media strategy, right? We covered using Instagram or using Facebook or using YouTube, right? Let's say you're creating on a consistent basis one YouTube video per week, and let's say it's a house tour type of video, you're introducing to different people to different houses, right? Well, now you can send these videos to the leads that you are generating as an email broadcast. And what that means is that these paid leads that are coming in, these listing leads that you are generating, right, they're building your audience over on this organic social media side. You're actually building, you're getting paid to build your social media as a result of running these ads. And then again, that's something that's not going to happen unless you're able to do this sort of things with your marketing strategy, which sets you up, which differentiates you as a real estate agent in their minds. Now, as these listing leads are coming in, the very first thing that you want to be doing is obviously appointment setting calls and text. So listing leads are coming in. You, again, want to know what to say, when to say, where to say it. But the process for all the leads that are coming in is going to be this nurturing strategy that's going to be building that relationship with them. And then as you're getting that listing, it's going to, again, build your referrals, it's going to build your repeat business, it's going to build your word of mouth, but also as a result of these listing appointments and closing these listing appointments, right, closing these listings, you're going to be building your real estate business. If you're doing a great work, that is again going to build exactly what you want, which is referrals, it's going to build word of mouth, and build repeat business, but then also in addition to that, you're going to get buyers as a result of selling these houses, because again, every listing is a buyer marketing machine, right? People are coming to see the house, people are talking about the house, like people are looking at the house, right? So when you have your own listings coming to a strategy like this, the buyer side itself will take care of itself. You don't need to worry about buyers when you have a lot of listings coming in by running a strategy like this. And over the long term, right, obviously as we kind of covered, the main goal you want to have as real estate agents as a result of running these different strategies is that you're becoming a real estate agent that's the most well-known real estate agents in the household area that you have in your local market. So when a local homeowner, they think about selling, right, you're going to be the first name that pops into their mind, which is called the top of mind preference, top of mind presence, and top of mind awareness that you're really building as a result of running these ads. So that's why this video was called the best marketing strategy for this year and ultimately for multiple years coming forward, is because this strategy allows you to build what's really the golden egg for real estate marketing. And that is warm relationships, that is your sphere of influence, influence. That is something that's going to allow you to build that even to 2x, 3x, 5x, even 10x throughout the years. But this is just a modern way to do it. And this is a way to do it in a proactive way that allows you to reach all these homeowners without you having to be stuck on a phone calls 10 hours a day, or having to door knock, or having to cold call all these people. Especially as we covered previously, strategies like cold calling, they're not the most efficient way. Having said that, there's still some people that are doing well with cold calling. I don't want to say that's not working or anything, but I'm talking about a proactive way that allows you to really build your business for years coming forward. And this is really the strategy that allows you to do that for years coming forward. Because let's say with cold calling, we addressed that in previous videos, things like AI, things like market saturation, they're definitely taking over. It's getting worse and worse every single year. So this is a way that allows you to do this. And then this is a way that allows you to do this in a way where you're building a business that actually is fun to run, because you're getting people to reach out to you, you're getting to work with listings, and you're able to build that referral business, you're able to build these repeat businesses, you're able to build that word of mouth. All of these things are playing together into exactly what is the working meta, so to say, in the real estate business. And that is relationships, that is getting people to know you, like you, and trust you.